player. Check that out.
I know. Moisture on the pitch. This is what the Pakistani curators here in Karachi have been waiting for. As soon as the match is over, after the pitch never broke up, finally, it looks like a different surface altogether.
I have to speak that way, they won't hear you.
It looks like a different surface altogether.
Them's the breaks. And in the meantime, let's get on with the show. Go, boys. Roll the bumper. You can do it. Maybe it's not going to happen.
Can I do it from here?
Well,
then really roll this pitch.
That one. Maybe we'll just get on with it.
Let's just get
I think they've got a problem. Let's just get on with it.
Yeah. All right.
Okay, nominations, please. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Good, Bad, Ridiculous from Karachi. By the way, sorry we weren't here yesterday. I was a little bit under the weather.
A day after I, christened her as the Ultan Ariel, that's what happened. A lot like this test match. Till day 3, Mel was Australia.
Yes, I was perfect 3.5 days.
And then, actually, in many ways, Pakistan took over. Whether it's her tummy or whether it's the test match, it was all about Pakistan.
That's how it goes.
All right, moving on to the nominations. Well, it comes from Dave at Davey0511. Davey Warner, I know it's you. It says, good, a thrilling draw with great performances from both sides.
It was an epic draw. I mean, it was an epic draw. And so coming so soon after the Sydney test as well, which was another epic draw. Funnily enough, both of them ended up having Australia not being able to close out the win when they possibly could have.
And look, and when you say Sydney test, it could be the Ashes one from 2 months ago, or it could be the India-Australia one from 14 months ago.
Bit of a theme there.
It is.
Yeah.
So again, it's another, occasion where Australia have failed to bowl out a team on day 5. But, when you look at the magnitude of what Pakistan has achieved, I mean, it doesn't even come to those two results don't even compare to this. They had to bat for 5.5 sessions.
Yeah.
They had to bat more overs than any team had ever batted in the history of 5-day test cricket. And they did it. And they just did it, with Mohammad Rizwan still playing his shots till the very end. It was just, epic draw. I really think it really hasn't sunk in. The magnitude of this Pakistani achievement. Maybe it'll take a couple of days for us, for sure. And even for the players, and I think even for the people of Pakistan, it is one of the most significant days in the history of their cricket.
Yeah, it really was. And so even though you said that, yes, Australia maybe failed to bowl them out, but that's partly because they did so bloody well.
Absolutely. And the pitch, I have to say, yesterday in the stand, someone says it's Karachi, everything breaks up in Karachi. Well, that pitch did not break up, so there you go.
Look, it wasn't Rawalpindi though. Let's just say.
No, there wasn't.
Rawalpindi.
Yeah, and I'm sure we'll discuss Australia's tactics and strategies and what they did right and what they could have done better. And maybe at the end of the day, nothing mattered because Pakistan was so good. But we will move on to Amitawa at Amitawa0112, who says ridiculous. Australia dropping 4 catches in the second innings. Happened again, Mel.
Dropsies. I mean, a couple of them, those ones close in, I guess, from Marnus and Travis, those close catcher ones that are just reflex lightning or not, they're going to happen. It just happened with like consecutive balls. And poor Mitch Swepson, who had just not had a great day. He had a good session. We'll talk a bit more about him. There was a good point. But yeah, those drop catches, Steve Smith obviously dropping Abdullah Shafiq is huge. But then I think the worst one, you sort of felt a bit sorry for Usman Khawaja dropping Rizwan at the moment where, don't know what that could have started right at the end there. And the reason I really felt sorry for him is just near us here, the crowd who've been shouting, Khawaja, Khawaja, celebrating him. They all started shouting, Khawaja, Khawaja, because they were so happy he dropped that catch. So, look, his head went down. I saw Steve Smith kind of just walk past and surreptitiously give him a little pat. He looked pretty miserable afterwards. But they created chances. They didn't take them.
Yeah, and I think the worst part about that Usman Khawaja drop was he still had Swepson's cap tucked under his pants. And he was the one who had handed that very baggy green to Swepson on the first morning. Like we said 2 days ago, he played an integral part in getting Mitchell Swepson to Test cricket as his captain for Queensland. And he took the catch 2 days back when Mitchell Swepson took his first ever wicket of Babar Azam. So all that together, and yeah, I mean, it reminded me, Mel, the crowd cheering or chanting his name for the drop catch of the 2006 Test match at Wankhede when Monty Panesar infamously dropped Sachin Tendulkar. And for all our Indian listeners, our viewers, I'm sure you'll remember the entire Wankhede crowd shouting, Monty Panesar, ye andar ki baat hai, Monty hamare saath hai, which translates to, this is the little secret, Monty is one of us. At least wasn't that bad for Posey.
Oh no, yeah, they could have done that, couldn't they?
So moving on to Broken Cricket Dreams Cricket Blog, some one of our oldest friends at cricket_broken. A ridiculous 305, 425, 177 unbeaten, 907 balls played by Shafiq, Babar Azam and Rizwan for an epic rearguard effort for the ages. Firstly, thanks for the stat. Now I don't have to go and calculate the...
I know, that's why I put that in there so that we'd have that stat. But also just because those numbers actually crystallized. You can sort of talk about numbers and overs, but when you break it down into the balls that each of them faced, that is, I mean, it is just phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. But the fact that there was at one point we were trying to work out in the morning, when might they have a dip at this? Is there a point? We thought maybe if they were 2 down, one session to go, if it was, under 4 and over maybe. There were various times, even after Bubba got out, Rizwan was still playing his shots. It was amazing to watch. So it never felt like it was petering out to a boring draw, really. I mean, and maybe it felt a little bit that way before Bubba was out. You sort of thought, okay, but it was very rare. It was exciting all the way, really entertaining.
No, there's absolutely nothing boring about this test. And I told you when this test started, how can it be boring? Now that I've arrived, I've never covered a boring test match. I shouldn't say that, considering we're going to Lahore, where I've heard the pitch doesn't do anything. Hopefully that doesn't happen. But you're right. There were 3 different innings. Abdullah Shafiq, young opener at a different stage in his career, showed a lot of grit, very good technique. Yes, he did get the reprieve when Steve Smith dropped him pretty early on. Babar Azam, when you speak about Babar Azam, people talk about his cover drives. There are so many clips going the rounds about his beautiful shots. But this was as much about his shots as his ability to bat for long periods. Just kept batting and incredible innings. And then Mohammad Rizwan, there is Babar Azam. Mohammad Rizwan. People talk about Rishabh Pant, the excitement he brings to cricket. I remember many cricketers saying if he's batting, I've never turned the TV off. I think it's the same with Mohammad Rizwan. He's getting there. He's not as madcap as Rishabh Pant yet, but sensational innings from all 3. And to your point about them chasing it down, the fact that as soon as Babar got out, they lost a few wickets was exactly the reason. I was very confident they were never going for the target. But what they did do right was just bat normally. They kept scoring runs, which meant that they never got into that negative mindset.
They were never in the shell.
Yeah, exactly. Or within a shout of getting to that target. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
So Gaurav Nandan Tripathi, another old friend of ours at Cricket Beyond Entertainment, this ridiculously great Babar's innings. This innings is right in the league of, how old are you, Gaurav Nandan Tripathi? Of Hanif Mohammad's and other Pakistani greatest test innings of all time. Composure, perseverance, fortitude, throw whatever adjective you want, everything fits. Firstly, Hanif Mohammad, the Hanif Mohammad, the enclosure is right next to us. And I have a picture of you. You don't look like you were around in 1958 to watch Hanif Mohammad play his epic innings of 364, which, if you look at the scorecard, came in similar circumstances. West Indies were on top in that game that rolled over Pakistan in the first innings, and then Hanif Mohammad never got out. So there are some parallels, and people have been drawing parallels between this game and a lot of other games. We've definitely done that on commentary, but yeah, I mean, it will go down as one of the most memorable rearguard innings ever in the history of the game. Already it's the highest score by any captain in the 4th innings. Babar Azam going past Michael Atherton's famous 185, which also kind of coincides with the other record.
Yeah, and I mean, you talk about it being Pakistan's. I think it's beyond that. It's one of the great innings to save a test match like that. It has to be. So So yeah, beyond that, it should be considered up there. Any country, all time, it's got to be up there. I haven't seen all of those matches. I'm also not that old.
I was around.
Reese, yes.
Reese Needham.
Oh, I liked this one.
At Reese Needham. David Shepherd looking down and standing on one leg fondly at Mohammad Rizwan's career aggregate as it stands at the end of this test. Wow, 1-1-1 runs. Well done.
I just put that down because I thought that was a nice stat.
Yeah, maybe you do the leg lifting
generally. Quadruple Nelson, yes, it's a quadruple Nelson,
yeah.
I guess.
No, I mean, yeah, that's a good, very good stat. Like, that's just the best part about our wonderful fans, right?
Yes.
Can I just call them fans?
He's got such an ego. I've created a monster.
Sorry, I meant viewers and listeners.
I just brought that one.
Yeah.
I thought that was great.
It was brilliant. And no, I'm just Mohammad Rizwan, what a player. And he'll just get better and better. It's a pity that we don't see more of Pakistan play on our shows, whether it's Australia or they do go to New Zealand a lot. So he made an impression the last time he came to Australia. He got a 50, I remember. But with this innings, I mean, if not for Babar Azam's innings, we would be talking maybe singing the praises of Rizwan instead of that.
As a duo across formats, they're not a bad sort of duo, those two.
They are the good, bad, ridiculous pair of international cricket. Okay, moving on to Shanti at Unbroken Warmth. Deep love name. Maybe bad. Expected a better performance from Mitchell Swepson. Lack of variation. Question mark.
I know you've got thoughts about. Well, he completely lost his length today.
Yeah.
Completely lost his length, as we saw. Unless his length of choice was full toss, he lost his length. It wasn't great. He bowled one good spell, not that long before tea. It's the only spell I think he bowled in that middle session. And he actually bowled quite well there. And yes, he did have a couple of 3 catches, you have to say technically dropped. So that doesn't help. But, it got to the end there. And I felt bad for thinking this, but I was thinking when they brought him on, Nathan Lyon at the end, they brought Labuschagne on for 1 over. I kept thinking, I sort of felt that I wanted them to bowl Labuschagne earlier. Because I didn't have that faith by that stage in what Mitch Swepson was going to do in the 4th over, and I was like, and Labuschagne came on, and immediately the tension went up, and it was like, things are happening here. So that doesn't bode well, does it, when you're watching thinking, I need to bring on the part-timer here when you've got a full-time leggy.
I mean, he put a lot of overs. So, and the one thing is, Pat Cummins picked him, and he backed him until the very end. In fact, he bowled the last over of this innings. And we did ask him, Pat Cummins, that is, during the press conference, about why he thought it wise to go with the spinners and not give either him or Stark at least another over with that 3rd new ball. And he felt that with the spinner bowling, it felt like a wicket would fall, off every ball. Look, it's always a different game out there compared to what we see here. And look, I was also speaking to some another cricketer from another country who actually felt that Swepson bowled really well. So, you always read games differently. And this person knows a thing or two about spin bowling without taking any names. So I'm sure, he must be right. But I just felt like he didn't do Nathan Lyon justice in the first session. Where he just couldn't keep the pressure on. And the one thing most subcontinental spinners hate, or any spinner for that matter in this part of the world, is being milked around. It's not like he was conceding boundaries. Yes, there was a full toss, but they were just batting so easily. And Nathan Lyon had started bowling really well from the other end. So I think maybe that's where they lost it. Yes, Lyon got those wickets, but maybe it was too late by them. So it's going to be difficult, right? Like, how do you judge that debut? Do you look at him as someone who did not create enough opportunities? Or, we would have been talking a different game altogether if the
catches. Take 3 catches.
Exactly.
Take 3 catches.
Or even one. I mean, even the Khawaja one. That stage, if this one gets out, that
I mean, Smith takes the Shafiq one, and it could be a completely different conversation we're having. So you have to, you probably have to keep that in mind. So I would say it was mixed. He created some chances. Yeah. They went. There was times when he did, as you say, just release the pressure a bit too much. Look, first test, we'll see. Wonder if he'll play the next one.
Yeah, Shanega is waiting in the wings. So Another old friend of ours is Sudarshanan at Sudarshanan7 says ridiculous Babar Azam didn't declare shake hands when he was in 194.
I saw people like tweeting that Australia were being disrespectful by not shaking hands. You know what happened in the Caribbean. Oh, did you miss that? Oh.
I don't watch as much cricket as you do.
Joke is lost. All right, never mind. Go on then.
What happened on 194? Please do enlighten
me.
No.
Keep going.
I really thought you were talking about Rahul Dravid and Sachin Tendulkar from the Lahore test.
Well, we could be.
All right. But thank you for the nomination suggestion. Oh, another one from Gaurav Nandan Tripathi. Who says, ridiculous. How many times will Lyon be allowed to fail in the fourth innings as the lead spinner? It's his job to win it for Australia on day 5 pitches worldwide. He's bowled more than 1,000 deliveries in fourth innings to take only 10 wickets. Very poor. But firstly, thanks for the
stat.
It's just going to save 15 minutes. Like, I have 3 stats that I'm going to put in my piece. So will Mel. But this is why we love you guys. No, I mean, Gaurav, it's again very similar to Swepson, right, Mel? Like, how do you judge this performance from Nathan Lyon? Sorry.
They're packing up.
And like.
Sorry.
सर मेरा वो चार्जर उधर है एक नहीं उधर है क्या देखिए है ना वही पूछ रहा है ना
Okay.
गिर तो नहीं गया sorry it's a live show
it's a live show
and you have to worry about your charger still a long tour ahead yeah I mean look it's another one right man like how do you I mean Nathan Lyon did give them an opening that very likely twist that came late in the day, like it does in most subcontinental tests, where he got 2-3 wickets and opened the game up. Babar Azam and Fahim Ashraf the next ball, and Sajid Khan who played there's so much that happened today, but the Sajid Khan innings was right up there, but he for the 4th time running he just could not bowl out an opposition on day 5, and like Adam Collins, our dear friend, said. Maybe you could even take it back to the Headingley test, where Ben Stokes played that knock. Does that count? So, I mean, it's a tricky one. His record has not been the best after the pandemic started. India really, played him well. And that's somehow gave him only 9 wickets. SCG test, the Gabba test. Again, the Sydney test, you can say eventually it came down to Anderson and Broad batting. The light was bad, but the fact is, it will go down as another failure for Nathan Lyon to not be able to do that. And he was ironically given the best bowler of the match award, one of those classic checks, and he just chucked it away as soon as he walked away from the camera. He was very displeased. I've rarely seen him so unhappy. He was kicking the ball around. He, I think, even had like a word with Babar Azam, and that LBW wasn't given. Not his best day, even though he nearly won it for Australia. But like I said, it was by then maybe too late.
Yeah, you really could see it in his face. He had that same same look on his face that you have seen in those innings. Like when you think of him in that Headingley test.
Yeah.
I remember that as well, as you say, Sydney and Brisbane. We've spoken about this. I felt that India in particular worked out how to play him extremely well in Australia, and you just wonder if he's come back from that completely yet. I don't know, or if it's the other sides are working it out as well. I don't know if it's a combination of both. But remember, it wasn't in the Hobart test. Before this series, last time he'd actually really bowled was that Sydney test.
Yeah.
So that must be really frustrating. It feels like it's quite a while since he's had a massive impact. Although you have to say he did at least open things up today.
Yeah. All right.
Oh yeah. Sorry, we have reached the point where it's time for me to do my lame drum roll on the leg. It's time for Let's See If the Sting Works. The goodest thing of the day.
I think it's a tap for sound. That's a sign that it doesn't work.
No, I think that's.
I just flap my wings. Yeah, much better. Wings, like I said, I'll be up to the helicopters, but I think the goodest thing for the day is just this incredibly wonderful draw, like this record-breaking draw. We saw a very boring draw. I didn't. You guys did see that really boring draw in that was an epic when it comes to boring draws last week in Rawalpindi. Epically boring. But this one was just one of the best games either Mel or I have ever seen. Covered. there's been so much talk about this being historic tour and all that. So much history was created here, and for the thousands of people who came here, there maybe for 3-4 thousand, just the roar that went on throughout the day, and just the smiles on so many faces here was all worth it, because they were all down and out 2 days ago when Pakistan had been bowled out for 148. But yeah, it's just one of the greatest comebacks in the history of cricket.
It was. Right. Okay, time for the baddest thing of the day.
The baddest thing of the day, there's nothing really bad that happened. Maybe the moment when Usman Khawaja dropped the catch.
Yeah.
You felt bad for him. It wasn't a bad moment, but
it was a bad moment.
Yeah,
for him.
I know. For him as well. Like, he's done everything right. Like, not just here, but since he's come back into Test cricket, he's been happy. Things have gone his way. Even when he failed in those 2 innings in Hobart, he was still part of the contest. Like, he was having fun. Great start to this tour here. A lot of runs. And it was the Khawaja Test. He was the player of the match eventually. So it was the Khawaja Test till that moment where maybe the moment that mattered, and that's the brutality of Test cricket, right?
Yeah.
It can just sort you out with that one moment. So yeah, that was the best.
Yeah, I felt very sorry for him. Okay, time for the ridiculous thing of the day.
It just has to be that Mohammad Rizwan innings. Just even the fact that he got to his 100 by hitting 2 fours and getting a single when it mattered of the last ball of the penultimate over. It just tells you everything you need to know about Mohammad Rizwan. I mean, cricket is richer because of a cricketer like Mohammad Rizwan. He not only creates excitement, you could see him out there, he's always chatting with the player. He's been, I called him the most huggable cricketer right now in world cricket. Everybody wants a piece of him. Think about it, right? You're saving a test match. Generally, like, if you are the set batter out there in the middle, all the pressure's on you, you're trying to hold the strike. He was just happily pulling balls for four, sweeping away for fun, using his feet. And that penultimate ball, before he did get the single to get to his 100, he jumped out of his crease to play Nathan Lyon, nearly got a leading edge and was caught in bold. But it didn't deter him from using his feet on the next ball again and pushing away for a single. So just, on a day where Babar Azam, just set Pakistan alight with his incredible knock, one of the greatest ever in the history of the game. I thought, Mohammad Rizwan snuck in there with the most ridiculous innings of the day.
Nice, I like it. Well, that is it from us from Karachi. It's been great being here. Never thought we'd get to do good, bad, ridiculous live from Karachi.
And we're not done. We have Lahore to come.
We have Lahore.
We will be heading there tomorrow. Not sure what to expect. I know what you should not be expecting is any Pakistani food anytime soon. Just give yourself a break. We'll see you next time.
We will. Until Lahore. Farewell, Karachi. Thanks for having us.